uya kumakore, kuti ndifanane nemakore. Shiri yakanaka unoendepi? Uya kumakore, kana ndichienda kumakore, kuti ndifanane nemakore. Shiri yakanaka unoendepi? Uya kumakore, kana ndichienda kumakore, kuti ndifanane nemakore. Shiri yakanaka unoendepi? Uya kumakore, kana ndichienda kumakore, kuti ndifanane nemakore. Shiri yakanaka unoendepi? Uya kumakore, kana ndichienda kumakore, kuti ndifanane nemakore.
They have come for your elephant, dear mama, Lord knows for what. Stuck lead in her belly and lie her there, detusked, earth turned to red and grey, Lord knows for what. They have come with their paper books of good word, of penance, they say. There will be a sentence come down from the skies, hailstorms of fireballs, and your children are turned to spies now, mama. Penny for a brother, brother for the yoke. Penny for a brother, brother for the yoke. It would be funny if it weren't no joke. We have lost our customs, mortgaged our hearts. The future is nigh, yet the end has passed. Man is now a slave, child too is chattel. The trees are but furniture, the mountain that sees all will not weep. Though the ground it cries, it cries, it cries. And what king am I then in these shackles hewn from their cross? Their false blessings, their promises of virgins. What father am I to my people? Soon they shall hang me from that there steeple. Hail! 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 Hail Asante! Hail Asafo! Hail Zulu! Hail Monomotapa! Hail! 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 Hail Bantu, hail Hadza, hail Masai, hail, 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 hail Tswana, hail Shaka, hail Congo, hold firm, do not be wrangled, they have come for your ivory, mama. Lord knows for what. Soon come, and soon come again. They tell me now I am African. Well, if I be that, then let me have my land. They tell me now I am black. What color is that then, and by whose reckoning? They tell me now I am this but not that, be here but not there. Lord knows for what. Now the Arab is master. Took my girl I wanted marriage, but I never got to ask her. Now the white man is king. And I am nobody, no mind, no soul, just his thing. Soon time will tell, I've heard it told, and the saint will ascend to her Maker's side, the sinner to hell, where else? Hell, 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 hell. Some lies have a funny way of sticking, hey, and gold is a strange kind of glue, 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 and gold is a strange kind of glue. Oh, gold is a strange kind of glue. Oh, gold is a strange kind of glue. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Do tell, kind sir, what is your name and who is your master? My master is the Duke, don't you know, Medici. My master is the Duke Medici. He is mercanto extraordinario. He has asked me for a piano. I have given him the future. I have given him the future. My mistress is Queen Charlotte. She has begged me for music. I have given her orgasm. Bach! 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 Do tell, kind sir. Kind sir. Who is your master? What is your name? My name is Christopher. My master is the Duke Medici. He is the merchant extraordinario. He has asked me for a piano. I have given him the future. My mistress is Queen Charlotte. She has begged me and begged me and begged me for music. I have given her orgasm. Bach, Bach, Bach. Do tell, kind sir, who is your master and what is his name? My master is the Duke. I have heard of him. He is merchant extraordinario. He has asked me for a piano. I have given him the future. My mistress. She has begged me for music, and I have given her music. Orgasm. Bach, Bach, Bach. Oh, he's long John. He's long John. He's long gone. He's long gone. He's long gone. He's long gone. Oh, I went to my mom. Oh, I went to my mom, and I asked her what, and I asked her what. Said, where should I go? Oh, where should I go? To the seaside town, to the seaside town. There I turned up naked, oh, I turned up nude. They took me in their shackles, and they took me in their shackles. feel kind of shy now. Oh, God. Dear diary, I want to be married, unsullied, virginal. Father says a good woman should be untouched.
Father says a good woman should be untouched.
A man has come to teach me the keys and the cadence, notes and nuance. Our piano is mahogany, spruce, iron from the earth's entrails, and elephant. And elephant. I want to be married. I want not to be owned. My family, yes, we are middle class, but not middling, Father says. I want a house. I want it with a parlor. I want that with a piano. I want 2.4 children and none to ever know squalor. I'm learning to read, both music and recipes. My father says a good woman knows her heart.
My father says a good woman knows her heart.
Which belongs to God and loves her husband too, who speaks the word of God. When I am good, I will play Haydn, Rachmaninoff, Chopin, Bizet, Satie, Beethoven, Brahms. Yes, Brahms. What a funny name. I'll play them all. My mother says a good woman does not play.
My mother says a good woman does not play.
She is dead, serious and fastidious, night and day, day and night. Till she is dead, I venture. Till she is with the good Lord, my mother says. Till she's dead, then I mutter. And I will wear pink pajamas when he comes, yes. I will wear pink pajamas when he comes. I will wear pink pajamas when he comes. I will wear pink pajamas, wear pink pajamas, wear pink pajamas when he comes. My fingers long to tickle. Fuck! Fuck being a woman! Fuck! The game is rigged anyway. Fuck strength! Fuck being strong! imagine you came for a show and you're not getting one. Shit. Tough fucking cookies. Anyway. There is a spine runs through Africa, a seam of gold and mobile phones. There is a heart that beats in America like the rust on a copper coin. It is green and fashioned from dreams. There is a velvet blanket wrapped tight over the eyes of Europe. It is both beauty and blindness. There are fairy tales where the prince is the victor. My daughter knows they are all lies. There are palaces that speak of wealth. The walls alone are witness to their darkness. There are heroes in the belly of the beast. Their slain will remember their names. Their slain will remember their names. There is music in the throat of the thrush. Let us drown her, so she may incant with true emotion. Let us drown her again, so she may speak with true passion. Every note was once a seed in the ground. Every ship was once an acorn waiting to open. The soldier was once a boy playing sticks. The princess was once a fetus too, just like the rest of us. The riches of the earth, which once were just earth, will soon be just that. The riches of the earth, which once were just earth, will soon be that. They will soon be just that. The riches of the earth will soon be just that. And I'd always wanted to make a sculpture out of the piano, so I went through the process of breaking it all apart and turning it into this basically. The elephant at the back is all the bits that couldn't fit into anything. Yeah.
So like the physical breaking down of the piano, is that like a deconstruction of a lot of stuff in the past?
Yeah, so I was trying to, so I did a lot of research about the history of the piano and the history of Western classical music, and I guess through that there was the story of colonialism. For a 50-year period in the 19th century, 17,000 elephants, at the lowest estimate, were killed in the service of piano making. And so that was a story that was going on in my head about, and I thought about, well, what does a piano represent? It is the most archetypical instrument of Western music. It represents the civilization of an entire people. It's a very stereotypically European instrument, and it came at a time when the Enlightenment was happening. It came at a time when industrialization was happening, and also during slavery. And so there was all this beauty which was being created. The first person to really compose for the piano was Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, who's considered who I love completely, I love his music, who's considered the father of modern classical music, if that makes sense. And so there was, that whole story going on in my head about what does it mean for something to create beauty in one place, but to rob people of their lives and their environment in another place. And you know, I don't want to depress anybody on a Wednesday night, but you know, but the story is not a pretty story. You know, slavery had ended in America and in the United Kingdom, but the slave trade was not illegal among Arab nations. So what would happen was people in Massachusetts and Connecticut, mainly in America, would send over ships to the east coast of Africa, and the ships were to bring back ivory, because ivory is so important for the making of keys that don't wear away. And one tusk gives you 45 pianos worth of keys. So they would send over these ships, but to get the ivory cheap enough, they would then trade with the Arabs, and the Arabs were allowed to trade in slaves. So the Arabs would then use their slaves to go and get the ivory. And so there was this entire cycle, this entire circle of commerce that was going on. There were entire machines that we use now. The modern lathe came from trying to find a lathe that could shave ivory thin enough so that you didn't need as many tusks of ivory in order to make the keys for the piano. So that whole story was going on for me. It's where most of the writing came from.
And who are you now?
Who am I now? I am... Oh, that is such a daring question. Oh my God, where did you get the gall? Sorry, who am I now? I'm Cindy. Okay, I'm gonna calm myself down. Yeah. I am essentially, the piano was not, except professionally and in concert, the piano was not played by men for most of its history. The piano was seen as a feminine instrument. It was seen as something that women were taught to play. And what would often happen in the really wealthy houses is you would have people like Johann Sebastian Bach be brought in to teach the young women of the manor, of the household, how to play this instrument. And what it meant is that these young women could then present themselves as being educated through the ability to read music. And I mean, there are funny stories with that. In that during the Victorian times, when society suddenly became like all cosseted and nobody could express themselves, one way for young women who came from gentrified families to be able to be seen next to a young man who they fancied was for the two of them to learn a four-hand piano piece. So that was the only way they could be in secret, and they would go and they'll learn how to tinkle with their fingers. Oh my God! I'm so balls at the piano, and they would do that. So yeah, I'll take two more questions before I finish my whiskey.
When you went into doing this, you probably had some idea from knowing that there was ivory involved where you were going with it. But when you started to work with other people, like these guys that you work with, when you started to do that, was there anything instinctually that you learned from just, so you had like research that you did in a kind of intellectual way, but in kind of just practicing together? I don't know how much you did of that, but
yeah.
was there anything that came out that you weren't
Yeah, I think firstly, I mean, Yaz, who's been amazing in responding to my weird ideas, you know, like I give it up to him. I would applaud him if I wasn't holding my whiskey in a teacup. But just understanding how, you know, the sounds that we call music, you know, this idea of music being a structured series of sounds that have a certain measure and a meter and a repetition to them. The moment Yas became involved in the picture, which was just an experiment, you know, like come along and see what happens, and he's suddenly taking the sounds that we're making through that, and he's doing something that I wouldn't have, if I'd been walking down the street and heard it, I wouldn't have called it music. You know, and I remember we had like a 2-minute, 3-minute conversation about atonality and and lack of rhythm, and I was suddenly like, aha, okay. that is the actual counterpoint of what the piano is about. You know, if you've ever read piano music or listened to it, it fits very nicely into these bars where a certain amount of stuff is going to happen within a certain amount of time. You know, if you take something like Stravinsky's definition of music is I'll try and get his exact words. Music is a form of art through time, you know, and the art of the musician is to break up that time into equal parts. And Yaz was trying to take all of this shit and turn it into something else, but without any recognizable time. So there was a lot of learning that I was doing, and I ended up listening to a whole bunch of weird, crazy stuff that Yaz didn't tell me about, but that I listened to through that. And then Sarah's been with the project right from the beginning. You know, from the very first time I put a hammer to the piano, Sarah was filming it, and she's making a whole film about the piano from that whole experience. And I guess I learned to slow down and communicate. I'm not very good as an artist at saying what I'm actually doing. I hate having people around. And it's a very insular process for me. I just like doing the thing that I'm doing. And having Sarah in the room and she's filming and she's going, can you do that thing again? Yeah, definitely was fucking annoying. But after like, me and Sarah had like 4 or 5 sessions together, but after like the 4th or 5th session, I was loving trying to do stuff that responded to what she was trying to come up with. And she was forcing me as well to like, so Manu, what's this all about? Like, can you give me some direction as to images and all of this? And so, yeah, I guess I've learned a bit through that. One more question before I go get another drink. Yeah.
I really responded to kind of the feminist critique in the work, and the speaking from the position of the woman and the girl, and just wondering, in your writing of that, if you were in conversation with women, obviously there's things out there, or this is kind of your, not necessarily interpretation, but kind of getting into the space of what a woman has to put up with and had to put up with, where that was coming from.
Yeah, I guess through life you get told that you're a bad human being as a man by a lot of women, and then you kind of go, oh shit, what's that all about? So there's been that lifelong learning. But I came across this article which was written in the 90s about how the piano was a feminine instrument. It was a really interesting article. It was in a music journal. And I read an account of a woman trying to become a professional pianist in the late 19th century. And that was really interesting because, you know, we live in an age where we still have this gender imbalance in performance. You know, men still get paid a lot more than women in most pursuits, including in music, including in theatre and all of that. But for the most part, my daughter, who's 6, can imagine herself becoming a professional at performing art and going through that process, and you know, whether she's going to make as much money as another kid who's a boy who's 6 is something else, but she can imagine that. That was not imaginable in the 19th century. And so I read her account, which inspired the third piece that I did, of just, you know, wanting to come out of that. And then I saw an interview by Nina Simone, who started off as a classical pianist, but then realized that she would never make it as a classical pianist because she was black, and had to go back to jazz and blues and R&B in order to make it. So I saw an interview that she did, and I think those two pieces were massively influential in my kind of thinking about the relationship between women and instruments. But yeah, I could have done a lot more to talk to real people, I guess. Next time. Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for coming. It's been really wonderful having you all indulge us in this and stay around for a drink and, yeah, and a chat.